Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Cataclysm. My name is Vormithrax, and we are continuing Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead, our body horror challenge. And it's getting kind of horrible. We've run into a bit of a roadblock in our quest to survive. So, for the body horror challenge, if you're not familiar, in chat, you can always use the chat commands. With an exclamation point on the front, you can use challenge, Modlist, or settings to get details on what I'm doing. For the body horror challenge, I'm playing the high-tech, low-life scenario as a Cyberjunkie, and I am afflicted with the genetic downward spiral trait. That's a new trait that's been added to the game. And I'm going to turn to technology to enhance, offset, or manage my constantly devolving genetic condition. And we're going to try to upgrade my bionics faster than my body degenerates to survive the dangers of the Cataclysm. So far, we've been mildly successful at it. You can kind of see with the character sheet up right now. There's our Cyberjunkie. Stats are okay. Skills are pretty good, just a few gaps. And the traits are starting to get a little out of hand again. So what's happening is the genetic downward spiral is a trait that causes you to mutate frequently, and all mutations you receive from any source are negative. That's a little misleading in that occasionally we are being given traits that are positive, or even ones that supposedly are negative but are helping us. You can see from the list we've got currently, we've got things like feathers, which is supposedly a good one, strong, which is supposedly a good one. The very first few we managed to get gave us horns that we got extra attacks with, hooves that we got extra attacks with. Those are kind of a mixed bag. They're both a blessing and a curse, in that they restrict your clothing options, but give you extra attacks. So we've been up and down the list of different mutations a couple of times now. Had two really scary occasions. We did get disintegration once, which was going to kill us, but that went away. And then we also ended up as an extreme metabolism herbivore at one point. And that one really scared me. That one was beginning to be ugly, but we managed to purify our way back to basically our starting traits. So, this list is starting to grow again. There's nothing on there that's going to just flat out kill me currently, but some of them are making my life a little more difficult and are precursors to some ugly stuff. So, I'm looking to try to get some more purifying done to keep this list scale back. That's really the key to surviving the genetic downward spiral. You've got to get to a point where you can mass produce purifier in enough quantity that you can constantly be drinking it as needed to get rid of really bad traits that might kill you. And then once you get to that point, it's fairly safe, I believe, as long as you keep your supply of purifier handy and plentiful. Then after that, you just play as normal and try to increase your bionics is my goal. So we can be a badass bionic genetic horror. So that's kind of the plan. The roadblock we're running into is the purifier recipe. It's out of a book. You can't just auto-learn it. You have to get one of the 4 or 5 books that have it, and at the 0.5 item drop rate, it's proving to be a little pesky. So we have purifier serum recipe, but to make the serum, you have to be able to make the purifier, the base version, and we don't have that recipe. So that was a rude surprise when we found that book. I thought our prayers were answered, and nope, they just teased me. So we're still having that issue. Right now, food is pretty much the big problem. We keep getting things like high thirst, and with other types of traits that we can be handed, our food supply can shift and can change radically on just a moment's notice. So I've got to get this book. Currently we're trying to explore labs to locate it. That's still going to be the best source. They have their own dangers, of course, and yeah, we haven't been too successful at getting a decent supply of books out of the labs. The other options are mansion libraries. We've hit 4 or 5 of those already, and school libraries, which we haven't located a school yet. So here's our map. We're kind of parked outside of this beehive. I'm up here just to collect some meat so that we have something to eat. Trying to get vegetables from the forest apparently is no longer a useful thing. They have a minuscule amount of calories for whatever reason, so we can't just go foraging in the forest to get some vegetables to solve our hunger needs. I think I might have an idea that we can use to partially solve that problem. I was looking at the inventory in the vehicle before we started up, and there might be a solution. We're going to investigate before we pull out of here. Here's the area, though. We are currently exploring this lab. We've gone down to about the full exploration of down, I think floor 3 is, I think, as far as we've gotten. There is at least a floor 4, we know that for sure, but we don't know how deep it goes beyond that. And we did find on one of the floors a railroad connection, and we took a look at the computer for the railroad map, and it shows that there is a lab here, and there's a lab either at this point or this point. A little hard to tell from the underground shot, but one of these two endpoints apparently is also a lab. So we've got a little trifecta of laboratories right here in this area. I do want, after we're done getting some food, to go double check that, make sure we know what the local area looks like, if there's any fungus or ants or anything nearby those labs. And we might travel a little further out to check a few more endpoints while we're driving around in our van, just to make sure we know what our options are. I'm also tempted to drive down and around the city, see if there might be a school. Usually you can find schools kind of on the outskirts of cities. School library would be a one-stop spot for me to have a really good chance of getting one of the books I need. So those are kind of the options we've got, but we're basically racing the mutation clock. It's going to hand us something that's going to kill us here eventually, again. And I've only got 2 purifiers left. I got a standard purifier and I have a purifier serum. I'm holding them in reserve for emergencies. If it does hand us something that's going to flat out kill us, we'll take the purifiers and hope that it scoops out that particular mutation. But I'm getting a little worried about the number of mutations. It's going to get harder and harder as these grow to make sure that we can get rid of the one we absolutely need to by taking the purifier. So, that's kind of where we're at in the situation. Here's our gear. We're going really light with gear, as you can see here. I've got a problem with the bad back trait severely crippling the amount of weight that I can carry currently. So that's one of the big things that the negative mutations are causing. Beyond that, though, we're doing really well. We've got plenty of medical items and such. We've got good tools and all of that. We've got a full set of metalworking gear that we just finished up, the crucible and anvil and so on. We've got a good vehicle we can drive around in. So all of that is great, but we still got this one big problem. So I'm going to do what I can to keep going and keep pushing forward and survive it. So we'll see if we can manage it. All right, so when we finished up, we were just finishing up doing some hunting. It is 5:38 p.m. So here's what I noticed when I was taking a look at things. We have a food dehydrator. So food preservation is my big issue. I can't just kill the bees and get the meat and store it for very long. It only lasts about a day. Temperatures are rising, so it's harder and harder to keep things frozen. So I was thinking I would just go, again, kill a bunch of bees and then start dehydrating with whatever batteries that I have available. Once I've turned it into dehydrated meat, the recipe options change a bit. So yeah, we also have a really high cooking skill now. So we have things like pemmican available to us. And I noticed this right here. In the past, I wasn't able to do pemmican much after the changes to the season lengths, the 91-day seasons, because you can't get large quantities of fruit in the springtime. That's pretty much a summertime thing that you can harvest. So I've not really paid much attention to this recently, but when I was looking at the dehydrator, I noticed the dehydrated vegetables we would have an option for, and that it's part of that section of the pemmican recipe. So we can make dehydrated meat and then dehydrated vegetables out of our foraging in the forest, which will then allow us to have my all-time favorite food, pemmican. 434 calories is great. It's got a decent enjoyability, and it lasts 3 seasons. So it's not the most efficient method to do things, because we're going to be burning batteries to get the dehydrated status, and if I remember right, the meat to dehydrated meat, you waste like 50% of the meat potential. It's like 2 raw meat to make 1 dehydrated. Something like that. So it's going to be a bit inefficient in that regard, but it'll at least let me build up a temporary stockpile of food where I won't have to constantly be going out to get more. So I might try that method a little bit here. We might try to grab some meat from the bees, go rummage around in the forest real quick for some veggies, dehydrate a bit of both, and just kind of see just how long it takes and how much effort, how much battery power and such it might require. I also have the option of modding my dehydrator, put the mod on it for using vehicle batteries, and if we go check this vehicle down here at the trailhead, there might be a battery in it that I can use. I'll just install it in my vehicle here, let it charge up. We'll yank the full battery out, install it in the dehydrator, and that'll give us a much larger supply of energy that we can basically run off of instead of the portable batteries. So, that would solve the battery problem. I think then it just becomes a time and recipe inefficiency problem. So, we'll see. I'm not sure if that's the best way to go about this. If it takes too much time to do these various things, time I should be spending actually looking for the books, we'll have to reevaluate. So, I just got a bit of a push-me-pull-me situation with my need for nutrition and my need to be exploring in the labs kind of not cooperating with each other. So, that's kind of where we're at. We've got a little bit of meat prepped from our previous run. We've got, what, 7 cooked up here, ready to go, and then I've got 9 more in the vehicle currently that we haven't cooked yet. Let's go down and check that vehicle real quick first. So, we've got the duffel and leather backpack, steel knuckles. Alright, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Bunch of bees down there. Maybe we'll tear apart some bees while we're at it, if they come and mess with me. Alright, does have a battery. It's low, no charge, but that's not a problem. I'll just pull it out and then, like I say, lug it back to my other vehicle and just let the gas tanks and the alternator charge it up for a bit. So, let's go ahead and remove that. Also a bit damaged. Alright, so we got the battery. Let's grab the soldering iron too. Activate. Here we go, soldering iron. Apparently I didn't have it. Yes, I did. Alright, I'm confused. Alright, repair the car battery, please. Alright, battery's completely repaired. Next up, we're going to install it. We'll put it kind of interior here. That was my bad bionics firing off. Alright, we're going to start the engine up. Let it start charging for a bit. And let's see, we're at 95% on the other one. Let's let a little bit of time pass. Alright, 83% already. See, it's that quick to get this thing charged up when it's good condition and full values and such. So, yeah, let's go ahead and actually, let's make the battery mod first. Alright, so battery compartment mod's the one we're looking at. That's the one that lets you use vehicle batteries and small storage batteries and regular tools. Hopefully we can... I don't remember ever trying to mod a dehydrator, so I'm assuming it's going to work. Alright, let's unload the food dehydrator currently of the batteries. Activate our battery compartment mod. Food dehydrator. Yes. Alright, we have modded it successfully. Now we're going to pull out a battery, both at 100% now. We'll grab the one we just installed. We dropped it on the pavement below us. Alright, now food dehydrator reload. There we go. Stupid heavy. We're way overweight, but that's okay. I don't need to actually carry it around with me as long as I bring the meat and stuff back here. Alright, let's see. We've got space where? Starting to have a little bit of a space problem. Alright, we'll dump the dehydrator, dump the soldering iron. Let's go turn the vehicle off as well. Alright, I'm doing okay on gas. Water I'm not too concerned about. Yeah, so step 1 done. We got the dehydrator done. It's going to get dark here pretty quick. That's fine. Also grab the atomic lamp. All. Alright, so we got the lamp ready to go as well. Let's take a look what we got here. So, none of this stuff holds very long. Get the lard done before I forget. Alright, so dehydrated meat. So this is where I was trying to figure out the efficiency of this process. So 1 dehydrated meat, I'm going to take 2 chunks of meat, but it's only going to give me 1 portion of dehydrated. So that's the inefficiency I was talking about. But there's recipes that will use dehydrated meat that don't use chunks of meat, it seems like. So that's kind of what I'm curious about. So let's go ahead and do 4 dehydrated meat. It's going to take 8 of my 9 chunks of meat I've got laying around. This by itself is helpful in that this, once it's dehydrated, lasts 3 seasons. So as long as I've got the battery power and I've got as much meat as I want to deal with, I can make this meat last 3 seasons. The question mark, though, is what can I turn the meat into after I dehydrate it? So let's get this done. Alright, so it's done. It's too heavy yet again. So I got to remember to keep grabbing things off the ground. Alright, so now we have our dehydrated meat. What can we do with it? Pemmican! So, pemmican is the one that I'm aiming for. I'm just not convinced it's a good use of time and effort. Now, luckily, I only need the dehydrator and the vehicle battery for, or that part of that vehicle battery for the dehydrating process. Pemmican I can do off of the hot plate from the stove. Let's attach to the other battery, but neither of those is going to use up all of the battery charge. So, but you can see here, it takes lard, dehydrated meat, and dehydrated vegetables. I just don't have enough of any of that stuff to make it in quantities. So, right there would max out the lard I've currently got. 4 whole portions of this is like 1 day's food. So, yeah, dehydrating it and rehydrating it's kind of the route I'm leaning. So we can rehydrate it right there. Again, we lose a portion. So, I mean, rehydrated meat, taking 2 dehydrated... What the hell? Is this like quartering it? Because it took 2 chunks of meat to make 1 dehydrated. Now it's taking 2 dehydrated to get back to 1... Yeah, this is quartering it. What the hell? That seems like a really, really bad deal. Huh. 2 chunks of meat to make 1 dehydrated. So you have to do that twice to be able to even do this recipe. That means you're using 4 chunks of meat at the beginning of the process to get 2 chunks of meat, or no, to get 1 chunk of meat at the end of the process. Youch. That's terrible. I don't know if that's intentional. That seems really weird to me. I mean, I expect some loss. I'm okay with some loss, but 4 to 1? I might have to make a note and ask somebody about that. I don't know if that's intentional or what. That just seems like a really, really horrendously inefficient way to do things. Even for the fact that you can then store it for a long period of time. That just seems horribly inefficient. Alright, well. Hey there, Mowgli. Going pretty good. As soon as I puzzle out this dehydrated to rehydrated conundrum. It's pretty bad efficiency in the process. You end up with the exact same calorie value. I think it's funny, the rehydrated has 2 enjoyability, whereas the cooked meat straight up has none. That seems a little weird. Well, so the next thing to look at, if I rehydrate, we lose that efficiency. It goes to 4 to 1, basically, which I'm not a fan of. But if we go straight to the pemmican, 2 dehydrated meat, and I get this worth 434 and lasts for 3 seasons. So it's still got the 2 to 1, but you're also having to get 2 dehydrated vegetables in the mix and 2 lard. So if you have these in large quantities, this is still my go-to food for long-term use, but I don't have them in large quantities. I'll run out of lard really quick. The other 2 I can get without a problem, but the lard will be an issue. So the dehydrated meat, I can eat it straight up. So, I mean, 399 calories. Quench is no issue. Last 3 seasons. Dehydrated meat flakes with proper storage, dried food remain edible for an incredibly long time. Yeah, this just seems really weird. Why would you? And it doesn't have a negative. I was expecting you to get a negative fun factor for eating dehydrated meat flakes. Really seems like it should have some negative value there. Or is it just not reporting it on this screen? Let's double check the actual eat screen. So, nope, it's neutral. That's weird. Yeah, it's not even jerky though. It's not even seasoned. There's no salt in the process. There's no seasonings of any kind. It's just flat out dehydrated meat. This just doesn't seem right. I mean, if this is the way I'll go, it's the most efficient. It's just 2 to 1, and there's only 1 stage in the process. So, yeah, I mean, if I can do this, and it's going to last 3 seasons and give me 400 calories with no joy hit, this is the way I'll go. Yeah, there is a jerky recipe. There's meat jerky. Requires salt or seasoned salt. I've never been a big fan of it in the past. I might be now. There's been a lot of changes. So first, let me preface. There's been a lot of changes recently to the nutrition, kcal, all that kind of stuff. Some of the stuff still broke. There's still a lot of changes going on currently. So none of what I'm talking about may still be around here in the next week. So that's a possibility. But yeah, it lasts 3 weeks. But look, it only takes 1 chunk of meat, and you're getting 2 portions at 347. And salt and seasoned salt is easy to come across. You just get salt water out of the swamp, and you've got all the salt you want after you do the salt recipe. So, 3 weeks storage is plenty. You wouldn't have to do this very often. You just come up, butcher up a bunch of bees, and then turn them into jerky right off. That might be the way to go. I don't remember it being 2 portions for a single piece of meat, because that's almost doubling your portions just for the salt added in. 1 piece of meat is turning into 2 portions at nearly the same calories. You're going from, what, 390 to 340 or 350? So it's still a huge upgrade just for adding 5 units of salt. And salt I have. I have lots of salt. And I can get more salt easily. So, maybe meat jerky is what we're going to do, because then I wouldn't even have to waste the... Yeah, this is definitely going to be the best... Well, no, there's the problem. There's the issue. Look at the time to craft. Takes an hour to make a single one. So you do get a savings with volumes, so it gets substantially less the more you do. So an hour for the first, only 90 minutes for 2 of them, so you've chopped off a good portion, then not even 2 hours for the third. So by the time we get down to 20, alright, that's actually reasonable. Not quite 5 hours if we do 20. And that's going to get us 40 portions. That'll last 3 weeks. 3 weeks is a long time in game, so I'll accomplish a lot in 3 weeks. If I only have to do this process once, go out and kill some more bees, I just need 20 meat in order to do it. I've already got the salt. Yeah, I think this is the best way to go, by far. Again, I think the recipe is wrong. I don't believe it's intentional that a single piece of chunk of meat is supposed to give back 2 portions with just the addition of salt and heat. Plus, yeah, you get the enjoyability of 4. It's gonna make you thirsty, but that's rarely a problem when you're at the stage where you can be making this kind of stuff regularly. Hydration is rarely the issue. Alright, I think meat jerky is definitely the way to go. 1 trip out to kill a bunch of bees, meat jerky them, and makes us good for, could be even more than 3 weeks if it freezes on occasion, so we'll see. But given the current recipes, that looks like the winner to me. Especially because I'm actually gaining meat by turning it into jerky instead of losing half of it by dehydrating. Because it's taking 2 to 1 to dehydrate, and I'm not using battery charge. Alright, that definitely looks like the way to go currently. So we need to go out and get a whole bunch more meat. Unfortunately, it is now nighttime. We're not tired yet. Let's turn the lamp off. And double check where I've got space. Alright. I think weight is the bigger problem than volume. I guess while we're here, let's go ahead and fix up the duffel bag and backpack real quick. Need the tailor's kits. Pick that lamp back up again. Sure, go ahead and reinforce it. Interesting. It lists it, but oh, I don't have neoprene sheets. I need neoprene sheets to repair the hard leg guards. Alright, time to dump the hard leg guards before they go away. Yeah, I'm in a light survivor suit with a firefighter belt and some backpacks. That's the sum total of my my run around gear right now. Definitely don't want to throw the plate armor on. Leather pants. Some of the things we had on we can't anymore because we have tentacly arms. Our tentacly arms is preventing our wearing of our survivor gloves and glove liners. That is why we're not wearing certain things. Alright, light back off again. The bees glow? Really? Since when did... Oh, is it... No, it's almost like 9 o'clock at night. It's gotta be dark. It's clear, bright lighting, probably because of the moon. That's why I can see it all, because it's the moon. Come here, you! Stop running away from me. Let's go ahead and drop the duffel. And we'll just make a pile of bodies right next to the duffel, I think. The hell, they're running away from me. Alright, that's 3. I don't think I have... Let's take a look. I haven't really checked into the, I don't think I have the skills or the materials, but... Do we have the metal butchering rack? Just need the drill, steel frames or pipes, and spikes. Ooh, I could actually put that together pretty quick. That would also help a ton. Get that and a tarp put together. Then we could do full butchering instead of the quick butchering, which would raise the output quite substantially. Easy enough to get, but if I don't have those metal items actually sitting right here... Could also drag the bodies down to a tree and use the rope. Can I make the tarp? I can make the tarp, so... Really prefer to have the metal butchering rack and the tarp. Where could I get the fence up at the military base? That gives... I'm trying to remember if that gives pipe or not. Chain link fence is wire and maybe pipe? I can't remember. We actually have an LMOE shelter buried back there. That would give me what I need. No, the travel table is just an alternative for the tarp. You can use a leather tarp as well. There's 3 or 4 items you can use for the ground cover, the clean, flat ground cover. Leather tarp's probably the easiest one to put together. Travel table's nice, but not necessary. I don't even have the recipe for it. So, for the metal butchering rack, though, it'd be a lot more convenient. So, I know I can get the pipes and the spikes with no problem. That's not what I want. And I can make the hand drill as well. So yeah, we can put everything together. Again, it just comes down to how long do I want to spend out here doing this. So, if I were to pursue this, I would basically take a hike over to that LMOE shelter. Downstairs, there's a bunch of metal shelves and things I can tear apart to get the pipes that I need, the spikes and such. Come back, build the metal butchering rack and the tarp. Those 2 items allow me to set up a temporary full butchering station anywhere I need it to be, and I can kill the bees, full butcher them, and then bring the meat back, turn it into jerky real quick, and well, not real quick. It's 5 hours per 20 jerky, but do that a couple of times, and I've got 3 weeks of food, so that would pretty much solve my food problem. I would just have to make sure I keep my salt supply up. And keep my water in the tanks in the vehicle, which both is not a big problem. So I'm thinking that's the plan. I think that will help long term as a better solution as well. So it's a good thing to get set up regardless. So let's go ahead and make the tarp first. Actually, close this up again. I keep putting down and grabbing back up this atomic lamp. Alright, leather tarp. Sinew's fine. Tarp is done and dropped on the ground, of course. Next up, the drill. Chunks of steel is fine. And spike. Alright, so we've got all the prerequisites met now. All we need is 12 pipes. Frames are going to be... Well, actually, I could go get frames easily off that vehicle. I could just go take apart the trunk or the doors, and it'll give me the frames. So, yeah, we can get that from the vehicle right here close to us, so we don't have to go traveling. That's even better. It's already almost midnight. I'm tired. I should probably sleep and do it in the morning, though. No, let's take the frames off at night. Hopefully I'll get... Apparently I have angered the bees. And let's drag these bodies up to the back of the vehicle here. Leave those there. Oh, I've got the atomic lamp on. That's what's causing a large portion of this. Getting attacked stuff. Where'd my body file go? Didn't I leave a bunch of bodies right next to that thing? I'm confused. B corpses times 2? Oh, they're all right there. Alright, for some reason I was not registering those graphics. So they're all sitting right here. As time is spinning by. Okay, corpse. That part's good. Let's turn the lamp off. Alright, if you're not aware, and you ever need frames without having a hacksaw, just remove trunk doors or doors from a vehicle. Right there, trunk door. And you can see here it's going to yield a steel frame. Takes mechanics too, and bolt turning. So I had an occurrence in a live stream once where I could not find a hacksaw to save my life. I had every other tool, could not get the metal cutting ability off of a hacksaw or toolbox or anything like that, and I was desperate to get my metalworking stuff done, so the wrench will do it. So we're just going to remove the trunk and remove the trunk while we get attacked by another bee. Well, I've got the damn duffel bag on yet again. Alright, try again. Alright, so there's the 2. Let's throw the duffel bag on. This is going to take forever again when I do this. Stop wielding the knuckles again. Drag them and the body back up there. Oof. Taking a couple of minutes per space of movement. Alright, there we go. We got a big pile of bodies and we got the 2 steel frames. Let's go ahead and activate the lamp again. Turn on the... Butchering rack is what we want. We're at skill 6, only needs a 4. I'm a high intelligence character, so this shouldn't be a problem. Go ahead and craft it. And we have a butchering rack. Activate. Butchering rack right on top of the bodies. Butcher. Giant bee. Full butcher. Apparently they're taking exception to my atomic lamp. Alright, let's try again. Butcher, full butcher. Oh, it's going to take a while. 22 minutes per. Now it's 3:30 in the morning. But we're getting... Oh, this confusing thing. 18 chunks of meat 3 times is what it is. So that's a massive improvement in the amount of meat that we were getting. And we're getting all the sinew for crafting with, in place of thread and all that stuff. So it's also frozen. Benefit. Bonus. I think I'm going to leave the rest to sit out here and go to sleep right now, though. So let's throw that duffel bag back on. I think this is going to be a much, much better solution for us. Alright. Lamp is covered. We've got our gear. Hungry, thirsty, and tired. No. Oh, my water froze. I keep forgetting the water in the tank will freeze. I'm not used to that. Alright, so use the hot plates. Yeah, let's have some clam chowder. Wow, that wasn't worth hardly anything. How about use it on none of this? No, that's not useful. Yeah, let's make some pemmican. Why not? We'll have some broth. With Italian seasoning, please. Consume, consume, consume. Alright, so we got rid of the thirst. Still got the hunger going on. Let's go heat up my... Oops. Heat up my stored meat up here. 2? Did we use some of my cooked meat for the recipe I just did? That seems a little weird. Oh, 7. Alright, that makes more sense. Alright, that'll get us out of the hunger doldrums here. There we go. We are full. Definitely time to sleep. It's already getting pretty late in the day. 5:30 a.m. Yeah, I've got to, because I've got to butcher and then I've got to turn it into jerky. Both of which are going to take time. I got to make sure it doesn't spoil before I get all that meat done. Alright, sleep as long as you want. What kind of vehicle is that? Security van. Modded security van. We got somewhat lucky in that jewelry stores in the game will commonly have a security van either out front or out back of the building. You always want to double check if you're near one. Just try to get a look at one long distance and check it for its condition, because there are a fair number of occasions where it'll be a 100% perfect green condition security van with battery charge and fuel and everything. That's what this one was. It was a 100% condition security van with not a single problem anywhere on it. So we stole it, took it, made it ours, and then I've modded it only very slightly. We've added the kitchen unit from an RV. That's the only real thing I've done to it so far. Alright, we can drink again. And let's go ahead and get this done first after we take care of some zombies and some bees, apparently. Wheeled, don't need to worry about that. Drop. Duffel bag. Bees keep volunteering to jump into my larder. Where's the zombie? Way down there. Those are the beekeeping zombies. They may or may not come over here. I'm a little concerned when I try to do these recipes that these things are going to come over here and bother me. They weren't quite as close earlier. No, we're fine. Whoops. Accidentally did quick butchery. Okay, should be quite the pile there now. So, 5 chunks of meat. Then there's like 3 times 21, 2 times 17, 3 times 18. Gets kind of hard to read these the way it stacks the numbers up and all that, but that's a large number. And there's 1,500 thread essentially, so we don't have to worry about that anymore either for quite a while. And if I decide to make any chitin armor, I don't know, bees dropping that much chitin seems weird. Another thing that seems a little odd. I'm going to make a note of that as well. Bee chitin. Alright, now the fun part. We got light. It's 5:30 p.m. already. We're going to lose the light by the time we try to do this. So, let's move all of that stuff this direction. On the ground under the van. Yeah, that took a while. Throw my duffel bag back on. We're done out here for the moment. It's all sitting on the ground right below me here. And lamp back on again. Alright, I need to check. Yeah, battery's fine. Alright, here we go. Time for the meat jerky special. So once again, I'm still really puzzled about this recipe. Meat jerky, one chunk of meat and some salt is going to get me 2 portions at 347 calories each, with 4 enjoyability. That seems like voodoo magic to me. It seems like it should be the opposite, but whatever. We're also going to do a 20 meat jerky run. It's going to be 5 hours at our current intelligence and morale and all the other things that modify it. Crafting slow, 98%. Is that just because I'm hungry? Overburdened, inundation, lit up, unhappy, radiated. Oh, that's right, I am craving a fire and bad-tempered. Ooh, I need to go out and set a bush on fire. Let's do that real quick. Let's get rid of that negative. It's raining. That won't matter. I just want to get rid of the buff. I don't want to set that whole forest on fire. I don't want to get messing with these stupid things either. Lighter. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, you're just... He's not actually fighting me. He's just being a pest. Alright, did we get rid of the buff? Bad-tempered, craving fire still. Alright, let's try it one more time. I don't want to stand right directly next to it. Craving fire minus 14. Wow, do I have to set a bunch of fires to get rid of that thing? Apparently it's not going to go down. I thought just being in proximity was going to help get rid of that. That's not the case. Alright. Good old pyromaniac trait. Let's go ahead and do some jerky. 5 hours. We should probably eat something before we do that. Cooked meat. Cooked meat. And cranberry juice. I think I'm about out of all of the things I was really subsisting on for quite a while, which is the all the nuts. Picked up a bunch in the vending machines in the lab. I think they're just about all gone. A chocolate bar before we can't have it anymore. Good enough, I think. Alright, let's do it. 5 hours. Don't interrupt me, please. Oh, that's all my salt. That's my entire salt supply. So we're going to get one batch of this, and then we're going to be out of salt. And have to go solve our salt problem. Well, do it. Alright, we completed it. 40 meat jerky. There it is, hot meat jerky, 347 calories, minus 5 quench, plus 4 joy, shelf life of about 3 weeks. That will work just fine. Figure it'll take, what, 4 or 5 a day maybe? So that by itself is going to give us about a week. So I've got a lot more meat I need to do something with, though. I really don't want all of this meat to go bad. I mean, look at all that. So where can I go to solve my salt problem? We got a marsh right there. We can go that way, or a swamp. Was there one back towards the lab? Not that we know about. There might be swamp tucked back in here somewhere, but I need to make sure I can get to it relatively quickly. Problem is going to be that little pesky thing right there. Fungal flowers actually isn't that big a deal. We should be able to just ignore fungal flowers. Yeah, that looks like the only swamp I've got on my map in the local area, unless I go way down there. Alright, so before we go do that, let's turn the lamp off. I would prefer to go to a place... we're going to do one more thing with this vehicle down here. Oh, no we're not. Oh, yes we are. Alright, so yeah, it does have the tank. Cool. Remove the tank. Unload the tank. Pour in the ground. Pick up. Alright, currently we've got a tank of clean water there. We're going to install another tank right there. We'll fill it with salt water when we're over at the swamp, and that'll give us plenty to make salt with as needed. Let's pick up our butchering rack. Drop it in here. Actually, I gotta check how much space that 40 meat takes up. Inventory, sort by volume. 7.5 pounds, 5 volume. That'll all fit right up here. Right in my little cart next to my seat. So I can gnaw on my meat jerky while I drive. Alright, very hungry, very thirsty. 1 a.m. Did we mutate that I noticed? Bad back, bad temper. I think bad temper's new. High thirst, little reptile eyes, muzzle. I recognize all the rest of that. I don't think any of that changed. Yeah, you're correct. CDA it does tend to generate salt. or tears at the very least. You can convert tears to salt. I think there's a recipe for that. Yeah. Alright, let's sample the meat jerky real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, it's gonna be a lot more than just 4 a day. Alright, there we're full of meat jerky. And our water tank is frozen again. I really don't want to get a thermos, but I might have to eventually pick up a thermos. It's getting kind of ridiculous. I think I'm just gonna... take some cough syrup, see if we can force some sleep. 7 hours, please. Yay, we fell asleep. Cool. Yep, I can scroll the list. Did it get longer than the box? I didn't look. I didn't notice. Perfect. Good timing. And now our water defrosted. Even better. Alright, we are slaked. Gear is good. Still plenty of bees for us to come back to. Alright, let's make a quick trip over there. Actually, let's check this. Ah, yeah, very fast metabolism. That's the one I'm worried about. That's why I'm getting hungry so fast. And the Tentacles arm. Alright, like I said, I can't spend a lot of time diddling with this stuff. And we just left behind a whole bunch of stuff on the ground back there. So, note. Stuff on ground. Should I... yeah, let's turn around real quick. Let's see... it's this pile? No. There it is. Alright, gotta be careful not to drive over it. Okay, here to there. Need a sinew. Don't care about the chitin. Need a meat. Don't care about the refuse. Alright, now we're back to the problem of where can I put all this stuff? 120, 130, 114. I guess it's going there. Ooh, 60 volume. Yeah, this is going to be rough. Alright, we're up to 130. Can't fit it all in there. Alright, we got all the meat in. Now at least when I get to the swamp, I don't have to come straight back here. Alright, now we'll take off. Almost forgot that big old pile of stuff. Alright, like I said, this would be good in the long run for us to get done anyway, so... If I can get to the swamp, get some salt boiled up, or even just have access to the salt water, then we'll get a couple more batches of beef or meat jerky made, and we got a ways to go west still. Then we'll head back to the lab and finish getting it explored, trying to get that last book we need. Oh, that's all we need. If we get that book, we basically got this challenge licked. So, something made my ears ring. There's the fungal blossoms. Alright, so let's go away from them. Let's see, tuck up in that group or go to that group? I think I'm going to go to this group instead. Although... no, let's go to that group. Hopefully maneuvering will be a little easier to make sure I can get the vehicle right up next to both a saltwater and a freshwater pool. Okay, let's try the south one first. Alright, what kind of water you got for me? Yeah, sure, pick them. That's freshwater, great. So we've got the freshwater pool, that's usually the harder